Welcome back.
We can do this again. Welcome back.
2021. 2021, our first episode for Now That's a Show.
I thought we were changing the name.
Yeah, we probably still are. I think I'm going to change it.
Wait till February.
Yeah.
For February's sake.
Wait till Groundhog Day, Arbor Day, whatever.
It's in April.
Is it?
Yeah. Arbor Day is.
Oh, Groundhog Day is
February 2nd. 2/2.
How do you remember that?
I just do. You know why I know it? Do you know why I know it?
I don't know why you know it.
I know it because that is Philip Domenico's birthday.
Who's Philip Domenico?
Kid that lived on my street when I was growing up. It taught me something, a very good lesson. The lesson is that you cannot set a goal to forget something. Because as soon as you realize that you accomplished the goal, you remember it. And I have tried as hard as I possibly can to forget that Philip Domenico's birthday is on February 2nd. February 2nd.
2/2.
I can't do it.
Well, 2/2.
Every year. Every time we see Puxatawny Phil, I see Philip Domenico's 10-year-old face on Puxatawny.
Every time that movie comes on, I always tell people, I say, I swear I've seen this movie before.
Yeah.
Because same old, same old. This movie is the same every time.
Yeah. We're going to have to do a special show on... Wait, does that fall? When does that fall? We'll do a Puxatawny Phil. I can see it right now. You're going to have your big hat and your coat on, and you'll be like, Bird, I'm going to hold this up. You will be Puxatawny Phil.
What do they carry him with? Do they carry him in a cage, or do they just kind of...
I don't know. Doesn't he live in the ground?
Groundhog, I suppose. There's one, where I grew up in Stone Mountain, there was one they did. It was General Beauregard Lee. I guess they're not allowed to call him that anymore because General Lee is...
Puxatawny Phil comes out wearing a Confederate flag. I'm not sure he's going to get away with that this year. Maybe 2022, but we might have to take a year off from the Confederate flag, the cancel culture.
You know,
no one will know whether he saw his shadow or not because Facebook and Twitter will cancel.
That's right.
Cancel Puxatawny.
They'll shut down other alternative sites. Yeah, that's what's happened in recent days, by the way.
I'm surprised this show hasn't been canceled. I mean, I know nobody's watched it. Nobody's actually seen an episode of this.
Not yet, but
how can you be canceled when nobody's watching?
It'll be on the list.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure they're watching us.
Sure they are.
We're on the watch list.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure they are.
Episode 4. Woo! Yeah, that one's gone. If we can just get rid of the pilot. We get rid of the pilot, I can start telling people about this show.
You do need to watch the pilot. If you have not watched the pilot, LinkedIn photos. Weird LinkedIn photos.
Just pass by the first 5 minutes of the first show and everything's good.
We have a cover page.
And then skip a few segments in between.
Well, speaking of cancel culture.
Can I interrupt for 1 second? Couple of observations since we had our last show. So, New Year's Eve, I was home watching. There was a channel. It was actually pretty cool. It was a channel as you were getting up to midnight that was showing New Year's Eve in all like the countries around the world that had New Year's Eve before us.
New Zealand,
right? Well,
Indonesia.
One of them was like let's just say it was Singapore. It was somewhere over in
Southeast Asia.
In Asia, something like that. You can still say that, right? Can you say Asia or like?
I don't know if you can call somebody Asian though.
You can't.
I know you can't say Oriental anymore. You know that Oriental guy there at the dry
what
cleaners.
is the right thing to do?
I don't know. I think it's Asian. I think you can say Asian. What's funny though, you can't say like the coronavirus, right? The China virus,
right?
Chinese virus, whatever. That's politically incorrect.
Right. Yeah.
You can't call it the China, even though it was,
I would be thinking they would be like, you know what? We're gonna take ownership of this thing. We love it.
Well, so there was 100 years ago there was the Spanish flu.
Yeah,
why call that? We still call it the Russian flu, which was like back in the 70s or 80s. But we're not allowed to say China flu. Why is that?
I think it's got a nice ring to it.
I don't know.
Anyway,
you were watching the show.
So anyways, as they're showing these, like, they were really crazy fireworks displays, but as they were doing, they're doing this whole thing, there was a, what do you call it when they're doing the hand signals?
Not a mime. Not a mime. So, sign language.
Sign language, yes. Yes, thank you.
Remember when that guy was doing it? He didn't know he was doing it?
Well, so I'm watching it, and I'm like...
Were they inset in there? Did they have, like, inset in the screen?
They still had the oval.
Yeah.
It's always an oval. It's never a square. It's never just, like, superimposed. But I was thinking to myself, I'm like, the difference between, like Chinese writing and everything like that, it seemed as though the sign language was just as complex. Like, this person was like, they were going nuts. It was almost like they were on, like, speed build.
Well, it was Chinese, were they just drawing pictures, like, trying to...
That's what I mean. Like, they were like, it's completely different. So it started to make me think, like, is sign language universal?
There's universal sign language and there's American sign language.
All right, well, this must have been the universal.
American
this is all
bad. It's just bad grammar.
Yeah, bad grammar. Is there a separate one for the South?
Well, instead of spelling out the word ask, like a question, they just do this.
Yeah.
Ask you a question. And think about how that is discriminatory. Could you refuse a job to a person that is applying to be a sign linguist?
Yeah.
Because they only have one hand? Are you allowed to?
Or what if they didn't even have all their fingers?
Oh, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, if they were just like, they'd be like, they're missing one finger, they'd be like, wait, what did they say? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, how would they do numbers?
They get up to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 6, 7.
Some Common Core math instead of Common Core hand signals.
So that's the first thing. Here's my second one. Is that, so I had my in-laws over this past week, and there's nothing on TV that you can watch. So we're like, oh, well, let's put on some comedians.
You can put on our show.
Yeah. Nope. Here's episode 2. Mom and Dad. But it's just, it doesn't matter how old you are, right? In your 50s. Anytime you're in a room with your parents, or even more so your in-laws, with a comedian, the things that they start talking about, the uncomfortableness when they start talking about things that are relatively inappropriate, it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. You can be sitting there with like 80-year-old in-laws. Yeah. And the other thing that I noticed too is that when something inappropriate is said and your mother-in-law laughs at it, that's okay. No, that's uncomfortable for me.
And the funny thing is, you've known them for
30-something years, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it doesn't. I mean, we went to a comedy show with Juliana was there. We were down in Philadelphia, something like that. I don't know where your phone is. You weren't available.
Here we are again.
But God, I have this book of rules, and we write down these book of rules. And one of the rules we have in the book is don't go to a comedy show with your daughter, because that is uncomfortable. But watching comedy with your in-laws is potentially equally uncomfortable.
All right, so I don't have any in-laws anymore. I have outlaws.
Right.
Outlaws. I'm not saying they're bad people. They're just no longer.
You could have been there and been like, yeah, I did that. I did that to her. I did that.
Would it be more uncomfortable or less uncomfortable if I'm watching a comedy show with my outlaws?
Oh, way more uncomfortable.
You think way more? I think
because you could just be like, yeah, I did that with her.
I'd be more comfortable then.
Well,
it'd be easier.
Are you watching the comedy with them with your ex-wife there?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess
that would be the whole kind of weird if you're still hanging out with her parents.
Let that be a lesson to you, Dorsey.
And Matt, too.
Oh, there's so many people I could call out here.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna.
Anyway,
Right.
that's right. You had a show planned.
Yeah, well, I mean, the things that
Those are my only two.
I thought about, since this is our first show of 2021, just say, we thought 2020, there's no way it could get worse, and things are, there's no way it could be as crazy as 2020, the COVID and all that other bullshit.
Tell us about your trip to DC.
I didn't go to DC. I was asked to go to DC. I didn't go to DC. And smartly so.
No, that would have been fun.
I knew it was going to be a complete shit show.
Well, you didn't have to. I mean, it didn't have to be like at any money con. We didn't have to
Stage.
We didn't have to like make it all the way up to the front.
You would have.
Yeah, I probably would have.
Yeah. So I thought, okay. We all thought, whoo.
If anybody knew the background of some of these stories, you can't even tell them.
The Eddie Money was probably a show.
Yeah.
That was the same as nipple, right?
Yeah.
Same night. So we all thought, let's get 2020 in our rear view window. We can't wait for 2021. And it's almost like 2021 said, hey, y'all, hold my beer and watch this.
I'll take your 2020. And it's almost like Devil went down to Georgia. I'll take this bet, you son of a bitch. I'm the best it's ever been. Nostradamus said there was going to be an asteroid this year that hit the Earth. So we
How
talked
do you
about
even
that.
know? There's Nostradamus. No way.
I don't know.
He did not put down did he ever say, I don't think he ever said like the year. I think he said when these things are happening in the world, this is going to happen too.
Yeah, I think he said the year.
I don't know.
He just didn't say the month.
Just because he
wanted to keep
Nostradamus,
us.
that's what? That's a Greek? Was that Greek?
I mean, it sounds like it.
Armenian?
No. I mean, you could see him being like, you know what? I'm going to give him the year, but I'm not telling him the month, just to keep him kind of looking around up in the sky. Like, what the hell is that?
Was it 2012? The Aztec calendar stopped at 2012.
Yeah.
And so everybody thought the world was going to end in 2012. And the reason was they didn't have any more room. He had no more room. He just ran out of room. Maybe he retired. The guy that was doing the calendars.
It's like anything that says that it goes up to this.
Yeah.
How do they know? How do they know? I mean, 1999?
Well, you remember when speedometers, odometers, I should say, odometers were analog, or
Right. Yeah. Did they have
So
anything
they used to stop at
like
a million or whatever.
No, 9.
It was 100,000 for a while, but then it stopped. Then they made them to a million. Do digital ones end? Do they have a limit of characters? I would imagine they do.
I don't know. I don't think they've been around long enough for us to know that.
Well, you would think they're going to run out of room, though, right?
Yeah. What did you get? An email?
Yeah.
Who was that?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Dick Cheney.
So
was it Dick Cheney?
The people.
Chris, I've got some information for you. Don't tell anybody. I'm a wealthy.
Is he still alive?
I'm a wealthy cattle rancher.
You too can be a wealthy cattle rancher by staying home.
Wait, is that going to end up being a show? Don't tell them. Wait, don't tell them. Is that going to end up being a show?
But the show will be after it happens, and I'll say, I told you.
Okay.
It's going to happen.
Anyway, let's get back to them.
Yeah. So so 2021 basically said a big F you to everybody and said, hey, here we go. So, a few things that come to mind. I mean, there's several things that happen, of course, but a few things come to mind, and we'll talk about the things right here.
Wait, go back to the first page for a second. What is that? What
Oh,
is that?
this guy?
Oh, I remember him.
Yeah, it was
That's the Bill.
I'm just the Bill.
I'm just the Bill.
Sitting here on Capitol Hill. Yeah, I'm off to the White House. So, and what he's saying here is there's no song to explain this shit.
Yeah.
So I thought that was an appropriate cover page. But here's what, just a select few things here of what the world has already gifted us in 2021. And the first one, which you won't appreciate, no more New England Patriots in the Super Bowl.
I mean, is it still called the Super Bowl?
The big game.
Now it's
No, that's
I mean, the Patriots aren't in it. It's
the
just
mediocre bowl.
It's just another game. It's just another game.
That's one of them. I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
This one, the U.S. Capitol breach / disturbance / riot / protest. Now,
wait, what about the what are they calling it? The incite of
the sedition.
yeah,
Sedition. The what else do they call it?
I was watching Bill O'Reilly
The
last
revolt?
night. He said that basically, I mean, you probably already know this, but there's actually like every day there's a daily call amongst all of the media.
Oh,
The media. To where they say, okay, this is what we're talking
These are the
about
words.
today.
This
is why they all say the exact same thing.
called an act of sedition.
Yeah. It's like, all right, I'm tired of hearing the same old thing.
We
Because these people can't think for themselves.
We could talk all day long, right, about this and the fact that yes, they stormed the Capitol building.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job of it. But they also had some help.
Broke the law, right? Sure, they broke the law and should be tried and convicted or whatever. But where was all this
Over the summer.
over the summer?
No kidding. Yeah.
Entire city blocks were being burnt down.
You had a small business that you worked
Peaceful
all
protesting.
your time for,
Peaceful protest.
and you had somebody that came in there and smashed it and burned it down to the ground. But don't touch the
The lectern.
yeah, don't touch any of the elected officials. They're all a bunch of crooks.
Mm-hmm.
The honorable.
Well,
If I ever hear somebody say the honorable this or that,
that's a good lead up.
thank you.
That's a good lead up because
Since I
one
wasn't
of the things
all
that happened
prepared.
here, one of the things that happened was we had this new gender language focus for the U.S. Congress. And it's twofold here. We've got two pieces here to talk about. And one of them was, now this is before all of the
Riots and
breach,
all that.
disturbance, riot, protest, right? Whatever you want to, but, and I really don't think it had anything to do with it, but it's something to point out. I thought was, first you had Speaker Pelosi's rules. As Speaker of the House, you establish rules for how you're going to talk and how you're going to behave and kind of ways and words in which you can use. Well, this time they had a list of banned words and the ways to address people, keeping in mind gender neutral language. So now, when addressing another representative or congressperson, you're no longer allowed to say she, him, madam speaker. You're no longer to say
What do you
sir.
say?
Well, so now instead of saying she, her, him, herm, whatever, they suggest saying delegate. I yield to the delegate from Delaware, or representative, or my favorite is member.
Yeah, they're members, all right.
I said,
Yeah, but doesn't member?
I got news for you.
Is it
Nancy.
member
Yes.
somewhat? That's
Member.
gender. It's got
Yes,
some gender
that's
to
right.
it.
I mean, we're talking about member. I mean,
Is that real though? Is
that's
it
true.
real?
That is.
So what happens if you say it?
I don't know what you get censured or whatever. Who knows, right? Who knows?
What, you lose your Twitter account?
Probably. So yeah, so she's got rules going on, and we've talked a lot about.
Can you call people like fat or ugly?
No.
Or
Well, yeah, I guess so. If
Yo,
they're a Republican,
fatso.
sure. Hey, fatty. Which you like, when you forget somebody's name, it's like, hey, man.
Yeah.
Like,
oh,
yeah, you can say,
Tori.
hey,
Hey,
member.
delegate.
Hey, member.
Hello, member delegate.
Member. I don't think Nancy thought that one through. When you...
What about moist?
I'll yield to the moist member from Montana. So I can't wait to see what's his... and the thing that's funny to me, the funniest part about it is, I'm like, in the whole scheme of things, whatever. But that was top of the agenda. That was like the first item on the agenda for the new Congress. That's the flag you're carrying. So they are. I mean, you said it right. They're all a bunch of members anyway. So I found that funny. Now that was part, and we could talk a lot about that. But what I found most compelling was when Representative Cleaver. Compelling. When Representative Cleaver, not to be confused with Ward or Wally or the Beeve. We can't say Beaver. Can't say Beaver.
Oh my God. Talk about getting rid of
June.
Talk about getting rid of
June Cleaver.
Getting rid of history. You can't talk about the Beaver anymore.
Well, they had a kid. Remember the show in Beaver? They had a kid named Whitey, and he was African American. No, he wasn't. So he's the I guess he's a Methodist or Baptist minister from, I want to say, Missouri or something like that. And he did the opening prayer for the Congress. And at the end, he said, "Amen," and a woman. He said afterwards, after the big blowback, he said he was just being light and also, but pointing out that that's kind of what they want to do. They want to make it genderless. Let's forget the fact that amen means so be it, in Latin. But he wanted to make
so we can no longer have the letters M, E, and N used in whatever word that's out there.
That's a great lead-in. You know what?
Like mention? It'd be like womantion?
I've got a whole list of these right here, right? But before we do, I want to show you something.
I really appreciate you keeping me completely in the dark on the show, so I can keep leading you up to what the show's all about.
Well, one of the things before I go on to some of those, because that's what we're going to talk about, is when I was doing research on this. I came across an article. It was from Reuters, which I guess is well known, or I don't know if you say trustworthy. But
can you say oit?
What's that?
Can you say oit anymore?
Oit.
Oit. Oit. Oit. Oit.
And it had a picture along with the story, a photo. And it was a photo of Nancy Pelosi. And I kid you not.
Please tell me she had clothes on.
She had a mask on. But look closely at the mask. See, this is real. This is from Reuters. But what do you see on that mask?
What is it?
It's a cock. Like a rooster. I mean,
that's the closest a cock. That's the closest a cock has gotten to her face in how long?
But I just thought, of all things, you would have thought that these people are so wrapped up.
Is it real?
Is it real? That was a picture that came with the article on it. This is the picture that they put with the story. Reuters put with the story was her with a cock on her face. I thought, I don't know, ironic coincidence. I just thought that was something. But
that is pretty good. It's good work.
Speaking of the words, right? So we're saying amen, but he felt compelled to say a woman because, or amen, or a women, so to be inclusive, right? So I thought, well, gee, there's a lot of words out there, like you. So there's a lot of words that could be offensive, that we're going to have to think about how we say things now. And I look both at words that begin with or end with men, right?
Wait, N. No, that's not N. That's not men.
Right.
That's just N.
That begin with MEN. Or begin or end with MEN.
Right.
And since, amen ends with MEN.
I mean, even a woman ends in men. How do we get rid of that?
Oh. That's
They need a whole nother name.
So here's words ending in MEN that need to be, and there's a ton of them out there.
Mm-hmm.
But these are ones I really think should be given deep thought. Stamen. Stamen. Now what's stamen?
I don't know.
See, I said I know that word from somewhere, and I go back to my botany class that I took in college. I did take a botany class.
What is botany?
That's the plants, the study of plants.
Yeah.
The stamen is the thing on a flower. It's the little thing that sticks up, right?
Like
that right there.
Like the thingy?
Yeah, which is the reproductive organ of the flower, where the bee
We
pollinates.
need to get rid of flowers.
Else. Well, I found it interesting though. If you look closely here, look at the picture they have of the stamen. They got a piece of it here, one part of it that looks like a vagina.
Yeah. We got to get rid of that.
So should it be called Stay Women?
Stagina?
Stay Women.
Yeah.
That's one. I found that one. Sorry, the one italicized here. I got a picture with. That's why I was. But here's some other.
Are you gonna have some words that people really know what they are?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Like ramen noodles, right?
Woman noodles.
Ramen
noodles.
So ramen is it's a Asian. Can I say Asian? It's an Oriental type. I'm just kidding.
You asking me?
It's an Asian type dish, of course. We all know the cups, right? It has the noodles in it and the broth, but ramen typically has meats and vegetables in it too. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking, all these companies now that sell those products are going to have on the shelf. They're going to have an alternative, ramen, but it's not going to have any noodles in it because the phallic nature of noodles.
So what is it going to have?
It's just going to have the vegetables and I guess it can't have any meat, right? So some of these other ones you're going to know a lot better too. Like hymen.
Hymen.
You know what hymen is, right?
Yes.
So, ironically, the hymen is part of the female genitalia up to a point. At some point, it goes away. But did you also know, as I studied this, hymen's also the Greek god of marriage.
Oh boy. I mean, we got to get rid of marriage. I'm surprised that doesn't have the word men in there somewhere.
I mean, but I just find it ironical that the hymen's the name of the Greek god of marriage. Shouldn't be a goddess?
Right.
You don't want to talk about this one too much, right?
We can move on.
Albumin.
Oh my God! Can you get to a word people know what the hell it is?
You didn't know what ramen or hymen was?
I knew them, yes,
okay.
But
albumin's the egg white. It's the white of the egg. It's the white of the egg. Now, there are eggs. Have you ever had an egg before it didn't have a yolk in it, like a yolkless egg?
No.
Right. Yolkless eggs are also referred to as cock eggs. Cock eggs. Okay, let's go to the next one. Specimen. Specimen.
It's good.
That's a woman. I mean, you don't have anything to say about that one?
No. I mean, I knew this one was coming.
Semen.
No pun intended.
Semen. What's hard and has semen in it? A submarine.
I mean, she's got it. She has no reason to not get rid of semen.
Well, speaking of which, semen. I mean, just something about sea women doesn't sound right.
No.
A set that joke up pretty good.
Yeah, that was good. A nice,
All right, now
transition.
Now let's move into words beginning with MEN. Words beginning with MEN.
Menstrual.
How about menorah? Well, menorah.
Well, I mean, they hate the Jews anyway.
That's right.
They hate the Jews.
A womanora. Can't say menorah. Menu. I mean, at restaurant. Well, the funniest part about all this is they want equality of gender, right? Or they don't want you to mention gender, but then they say women need equal pay and all that kind of stuff. I don't quite understand it. So we're gonna have a women you.
What's on there? What are we gonna order off of that? It's gonna be all special stuff.
Well,
like, oh, I don't want it exactly like this. Can I have it this way? It's gonna be all salads
with all these add and subtractions.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this though. I'll say this. This will get me in trouble. Oh well. The first month of the year, it'll have like healthy options. And then as you get towards the end of the year, it's going to have like more high calorie.
Every certain parts of the month, they're going to have a whole different menu.
Yeah.
Woman you.
Mensa.
Oh, that's smart people.
Yeah. So, I mean, it does make sense that they change this to womensa though. Womensa because
they're so smart.
I think numbers show that they have higher IQ as a population, so it should be womensa.
Yeah.
Menstruate or menopause?
Yeah, that's a conspiracy that men are putting on women.
Why though? Why wouldn't it be womenstrate or womenopause? Because
it just sounds stupid.
Well, but that's because we know it. But why would they say men? Why throw men in there?
Why do you even have the men in there? Shouldn't it just be like one straight and
or straight?
One pause.
Straight and opause.
One pause. One pause.
How about opause?
Like Oompa Loompas. Oompa Loompas.
Oh. Let's find it all.
I mean, I think we just need to get rid of the letter M.
And straight. And a pause. That sounds like a car rental company. And a pause.
We strive to be first. First because we care.
Mental. Now, I do believe this one should be womantal.
Oh, way.
Womantal.
Yeah.
This definitely should be womantal.
Yes.
Especially if they're going through menopause or menstruation.
or reading a menu. or
trying to join Mensa.
Yeah. Or even during Hanukkah.
Yeah. I thought that was well.
That's a good collection.
Yeah. And how about Menudo? The Puerto Rican boy band?
Yeah.
So I think what's going to happen now is the Grammys or whatever are going to they're going to require that there's always a female girl band from Puerto Rico. Womenudo.
Yeah.
Womenudo.
Puerto Rico.
But Menudo, though, the funny thing about Menudo, weren't most of those guys gay? Ricky Martin was Menudo. Remember?
I know, but that's even worse. That means they don't like women.
That's right. And I said
they're non-lesbian.
It's not like he changed.
They're non-lesbian. Opposite of lesbian.
Womenudo.
I'm surprised they're not against like the homosexual group that doesn't love women. That could be like
but they shop together.
I know that's.
It
would be fun. They can share clothes and things like that.
All right, so here's some awkward ending visuals.
Already?
Yeah, but these are visuals we can talk about.
All right. Jeez, I feel like we just got started.
Dementia. Dewomantia. What the fuck?
I mean, what?
That's the mayor's.
I know. Why'd she take her tie off so soon? Like, Was this like the end of the night at the wedding? She
saw
just
a
put her
picture.
coat back on?
They showed Beetlejuice. And I was like, no, what? You wouldn't think, like, you think Beetlejuice, you don't think. And then,
Yeah, she's
yeah. Picture of health.
man.
And I don't know why, look, I didn't make this up, but I don't know why it had Democrats in it. So, you could have put some.
Well, because they matched the name, the words.
Here's another one. Speaking of menopause and menstruate, when a liberal realizes it's menopause, not womenopause. Remember that?
Oh, that's right.
That was
woman,
from the lady.
Scream?
Yeah, when
the Scream
they had
thing?
a day of screaming after Trump won in 2016.
God, bring
How
it
would
back
you like
out.
to be that?
Can you imagine being known for that?
How would you like to be with that?
I know, but still, this has got to, like, when she goes on a job interview.
She didn't have a job.
I know, but even
She's a professional agitator.
Walmart's going to look
She
back.
didn't want to have a job. She gets like paid to agitate,
Yeah, that's
probably.
true. Hey, wait, move the arrow over. It's like poker in the eye or something. Boink.
I got one more here. Now this is a, you probably can't see it, but this is a real web page. So I was thinking, okay, well, so if we're not supposed to use he, her, she, I don't know, we, I don't know. Well, if we can't use those,
How's that
I
one?
don't know. Well, I mean, so
Just rhymed.
what they say, these groups say that this is a website that has like not only suggestions, but also it goes through an example of it. So it says an example of what was it here? Perhaps like an email example. So instead of saying he or him or she or her, here's how we should do it. It says once. Put my glasses on to read it. Once I add my slides to the PowerPoint, I'll send it over to Zim to edit.
Isn't that still him?
Zim! That's what I'm saying. It's like
It's still him. You just can't change it. You can't change the letter.
Here's some other examples.
Why don't they start speaking in like what do you call
Pig
it? Like
Latin?
Star Trek or something.
Pig Latin?
All of a sudden they're like eating gagum back chakan lakawaka. Like, why don't we just? We've got to? If you're going to change it, make it so it's so unrecognizable.
Yeah. Well, here you go. Here's some other examples. Where did Z go? To me, that's like French.
That's
Where did Z go?
I know. That's Steve Martin saying,
Yeah.
"Take me to the hotel."
Yeah.
I know French. Take me to the hotel.
I needed to deliver this package to Zim.
Still,
What? So you were
it's still masculine.
what do you do if somebody's name's Zim? Stop calling me Zim. Why? Because it's my fucking name.
Or Tim.
Yeah.
You'd be like,
These keys belong to Zim.
what is wrong with people? Why don't we just get rid of all names altogether? Because Mike is a guy's name. Scott, Tom, Tim, Jake,
Zim. What about Zim?
Chris. Well, maybe not Chris.
Not Pat. What else? What are other names? So we're talking about what are names?
We
that are
call
Kelly?
people things.
Kelly.
We call people things. That was one of the ideas I gave you
Yeah.
for a show. We're all like names that could be used for both male or female.
Kelly. Chris,
Write that one down.
Pat.
Yeah.
If
I had been in
Tracy.
the show. Joe.
Joe. That's right.
Billy.
Joe.
Billy could be a dog.
That's right.
How many names could be? Oh, we'll have like 3 columns.
And a dog.
Could be like male, female, dog.
I had a dog named Kelly once.
I had a girl dog named Gus.
Kelly was a girl. Gus.
Gus. Yeah, I just always wanted a dog named Gus.
Should have been Gusette.
The dog didn't care. The dog didn't have a gender. Well, in its own head, it wasn't like, wait, I'm a girl.
Wait, it had a
this
sex,
is
right?
like, yeah.
Yeah, so they don't. I mean, dogs think of themselves as. Well, I guess they do when it's time to procreate. Like, I don't know.
I mean, Brady humps just about anything. It doesn't matter whether it's a boy or girl or whatever.
You're talking about your dog or Tom Brady?
Yeah, both. I can say that now.
Tom Brady. Yeah, so there's a website that if you want to go to all this, and actually there's a another website.
Do you think? All right, I have to ask though. Do you think this has legs?
The Zimzizat?
Do you think a show? You didn't hear what I said. Do you think?
No, it's legs.
Do you think a show that has all handicapped people has any legs? That's an idea that I had. I had two ideas for TV shows. One was a show where everybody in the show was in wheelchairs. Right?
What do you call it?
Because
what do you call it?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I think so.
Okay? Could be like Dukes of Hazzard. I don't know, but you think about this.
Roller derby.
But if you think about it this way, right? Yeah. Like, if you put a person in a show that is like, that it's like, all right, we have to put somebody in the show that has a wheelchair, right? Then I don't think it's fair to the person in the wheelchair because it's like, they're kind of singled out like, oh, they had to put that person in there. What if you just had an entire show where everybody was in wheelchairs? What's the difference? Like, everybody's the same, and then it kind of separates.
I would bet, though, in that show, when the writers need, like, they're reaching for episode stories, they would always throw in a
like the
person,
White Shadow?
A person that can walk or whatever.
That's the
it's
dumb
the bad
one?
person, the dumb bad person.
Yeah, whatever, right?
That's the bad guy. He's wanting to shut down the community center.
Yeah. All right, here's my second idea for a show, where everybody on the show is deaf, and it's all subtitles.
But are they doing the sign language?
They're doing subtitles. They are. They're all doing that, and there's subtitles to it.
For us to watch?
Yes. But like, if you're a deaf person, wouldn't that be like a good show for you to watch? Because you could be like, oh, I can relate to that. Don't put what's her name? Marley
Mann?
Yeah. Don't put her in the show.
He's trying to realistic her voice.
Yeah. He says sweep.
Yeah. Sweep?
They want to sweep together.
6 o'clock.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there should be a show with all deaf people, with all handicapped people, with all black. I mean, like Good Times, but like all.
Schneider. Oh, Schneider was a Good Times. He was in.
Yeah, it was One Day at a Time.
One Day at a Time.
But you see what I'm saying?
I do.
That's a good idea.
Let's go with that for a second.
That's a good idea.
Why don't they have a show then about it with all blind people?
I don't think it's a bad idea.
But what community are you catering towards? Because
it'd be a tough show to watch.
All right, so let's go on.
The blind people's a tough one.
So this is another show because I have ideas here that we can.
I know, but still,
here's a show.
We ended early,
Here's
we're gonna. You know what we're in right now? This is soccer. This is extra time.
Or
nobody knows what the show is going to actually end.
Football blowout. Monday Night Football blowout, right? Were you having to come up with something? No, I really do think that's a show. We come up with our show ideas, like a sitcom show or whatever.
I don't know if I can come up with any more.
But we can blow them out. We can describe them a little bit more.
All right, but those are good.
I got a good one. I mean, one that I've thought about years ago. I thought would be a good one. We can talk about that.
I don't say it because I gave all my great show ideas.
So that may be our next show.
We've been running out of ideas. Why don't you just give me an idea for a show?
So next time you guys can
we'll get a special guest.
Tune in here. We could, yeah. You tune in here for us, and anytime look up our episodes on Now That's a Show on Google.
Starting at episode 2.
We don't know how long before they'll cancel us because
we're in the cancel culture.
Offended. It might offend some people.
Especially after the blind show. The deaf show was good. Handicap show.
But you said
you crossed the line. You crossed.
How did I cross the line?
oh, we need to come up with a show called Cross the Lines. That'll be like a talk show. That'll be like the other side of like 60 Minutes. Be like, oh, Sunday night, 8 o'clock. I gotta watch Cross the Lines.
We should come up with a show like 10 minutes. In 10
minute
minutes
long?
Just
Yeah.
call it 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Nope, it stops right there. All right, so check us out on Now That's a Show on YouTube. Until next time, we may be talking about shows next time.
Yes. Or something completely different. But I know that I won't know anything about it.
That's the best way to do it.
It was a good show.